And you'd hear, Ewan, down the stairs I go, we have a problem, we have another problem, like every single time. Oh, we've come across a problem. You're like, what? Gone a bit fancy. I just saw this and thought, that looks stunning. I like the colours on that. I had us really worried, didn't you, boy? Hello everybody, hope you're all well. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. I'm back with another renovation vlog for you today. I'm in the kitchen and today is a very exciting day because today we're getting the worktops replaced, we're getting the new sink fitted, I've got a new tap to go in. So hopefully today will be the start of this place really starting to transform a little bit. So the worktops have arrived. I showed you those in the last vlog. If you want to see the first renovation vlog where I fitted some new flooring throughout this level of my home and I also started work on the kitchen, then that video will be linked for you in the description box. It's bright and early on Saturday morning and today is the day that the worktops are going to be replaced. I've also got a new sink to go in and also a new tap as well. Let me show you how things are looking. So the plaster on the wall is drying out nicely. You can kind of see where it's completely dried out in this top corner, and yeah, it's been about a week and a half or maybe 2 weeks now, so the ceiling's pretty much there. And then yeah, I need to probably get the window open a little bit more. I've been a bit slack with that, so I will make more effort to open the window and hopefully that will improve the drying. We've had so much rain here in London. Maybe I'll get the dehumidifier on the go as well. I've chipped off any remaining kind of residue back here where the tiles were before. Well, I'm saying that as I see that I've missed a big chunk there, but the upstand will be going around there. And then I'm thinking about maybe putting the MDF panelling above. So yeah, the worktops are coming out today. The new tap that's arrived and also the new sink. Gone a bit fancy with the tap. I just saw this and thought, that looks stunning. I really like the look of this tap. So I will link it for you. And it was so reasonably priced as well. I couldn't believe the price when I saw it. So yeah, it's got like this really lovely flower design on the base there and also on the tap itself. And yeah, I just think that is so nice and a little bit different. So everything I show you, I'll try to link in the description box because I've been really impressed with the delivery. So with the tap and also with the sink here, yeah, the delivery has been brilliant. And the communication on my worktops has been great. So I can actually recommend some really good suppliers to you. So I will link everything. I'm just gonna, it's really tricky to show you. Basically it's a white composite granite and it was quite tricky to find one to fit the space, but I'm really pleased because this fits the space. But it's a big sink, it's nice and deep and wide. It's got the depth that way as well. It almost goes right to the wall. And a nice flat draining board, but it does have a little bit of a lip here because some of them are just flat. And I was worried about, you know, if it doesn't have the lip here, then yeah, I was kind of worried about water getting all over the worktop. I saw on some reviews as well because some were just like flat and people said that water sort of got onto that section and then it would end up around here. In the past, this bit's gone slightly damp and wet, so that's made that bit a bit rotten. I don't want that to happen again, although the worktops that I've got are solid laminates. So look at the state of my sink. That is London water for you, and the fact that I haven't cleaned it. With the flooring, I'm now in two minds about this because the samples that I bought, I feel like aren't much different to what's here already. I don't know if they're going to be an improvement. So I've got some spare tiles. I might end up just putting those in. I'm not sure. Yeah, the chap's arriving in about 20 minutes, so I'm just going to give everything a quick tidy up, get anything out of here that doesn't need to be in here, so that's out of the way. And yeah, I'll update you a little bit later on. It's exciting today. It is a few days later and I'm back with an update. I feel like I've got so much to share with you. I don't even know where to begin. It's been really quite hectic, stressful, lots going on. Let's start with the roof. The roof up here started to leak again. There was a leak from some flashing that wasn't fitted correctly, so that had blown out. And yeah, finally got the chap here on a sunny morning in order to do it. It was also a very frosty morning, which meant that when he arrived there was kind of frost on the windows, so he wasn't sure whether he'd be able to do it. If it was icy up there it might be dangerous, but the sun came out that morning thankfully, and he was able to then crack on with it. The roof is now sorted, and yeah, hopefully we won't be having any more leaks up here in the loft. I've given it all a good tidy up here. I've been sorting things that I want to sell and donate, and trying to have a bit of a clear out whilst all the renovations have been going on. And this has also been kind of the kitten's little sanctuary up here while things have been happening. Mittens has just popped in to say a quick hello. You've been so good, haven't you? So patient with everything that's going on. And Pumpkin is just down there. I'll bring him over in a minute. Pumpkin hasn't been very well. He just seemed to be sleeping, not himself, kind of curled up in a little ball. It was totally out of character for him. He just turned into kind of like a little old man overnight. So I took him down to the vets. He had a temperature, so they ran some tests on him. They gave him some fluids as well because he was a bit dehydrated, so they've had to shave his neck and his paw. And when I went to collect him, he literally jumped up and gave me the biggest kiss. It was so sweet. Even the vet was like, oh, that's so cute. It was really, really sweet. So I took him home, and I've just been on Pumpkin watch pretty much, so that's what I've been up to. I've been so worried about him, but he has slowly made progress. I've taken him back in and out of the vets as well, having further checkups and stuff just to see how he's doing. His temperature's back to normal, and yeah, I don't know if you can hear, but he's now back on the scratching post, which is a great sign. It has been quite the week, as you can imagine, but I am just feeling so relieved. I'm looking over at him now, and he's jumping around and playing again and back to his usual self. It was like having a different cat for a while, which was so worrying and upsetting, but oh, and he's just scooting out. You're gonna come and say hello to everybody, because they'll be worried about you too. Come and say hi. I think he's in the mood to chase Mittens around at the moment, but you had us really worried, didn't you, boy? You off. And of course, Pumpkin and Mittens are back on supervising everything that I do around the home at all times, so we are all back to normal here. So, well, I say back to normal, the place isn't back to normal yet, but we're all feeling a bit back to normal, so that's good. So what else has been happening? I've actually written a little list on my phone because there's so many little bits to update you on. There's also been some kind of just time-consuming random little jobs. So I had a box of the laminate flooring left over and a few individual planks. I thought about potentially returning the sealed box back to the flooring company, and I looked and it was kind of like, I think it was like £25 per box. In my head they were a lot more per box. I've hung on to them, but I wanted to store them somewhere, so the only place I could think of to really store them that I can get them right out the way would either be kind of under a sofa under the bed, which I didn't want to do, or in the back of the cupboards up here in the loft, which meant getting all of the Christmas decorations out and then slotting everything back in. And just little jobs like that take so long and so much energy. Prior to the kitchen fitter coming, I had to get the gas capped off. That was £100 for a chap to come out and do that. You need a qualified gas engineer in order to do that before your kitchen fitter can do those works, unless your kitchen fitter has the certificate. And even finding this guy took a lot of time. So in the end I went on to Rated People, and I've used this a couple of times now and it has been really good. It's a quick way to find local tradespeople. You just put in what you're looking for, and then you can put in the details of your job, take some photos and post it, and they'll match you to some people who you can then contact if you want to be proactive, but also people can contact you and get in touch with you. I managed to find the flooring guy through them as well, and he was brilliant, really detailed, so happy with him. So yeah, I recommend the Rated People app, or there's a website as well if you don't want to download the app, but the app allows you to kind of communicate, and there's like a messenger section in there if you want to do it that way. And then it's just been things like decorating in the living room. I've been trying to get that done. I found some bargain paint, as you will have seen. I'm really happy with the colour that's going on, and then just caulking round the edging on the skirting board. All these little things take time, and I can't do it all at once because in the living room it's kind of housing stuff from the kitchen, because the kitchen had to be emptied in order to get that fitted. So I feel like I'm literally going around in circles a little bit at the moment and driving myself bonkers. But there we go. And what else have I been up to? Oh yeah, I ordered the flooring samples for the kitchen floor. So these are vinyl on a roll, and I've got these ones from Factory Direct Flooring. So we have this one here and that one. I quite like the tones in that one. I like the colours on that, but I just feel like where the grout lines are, I feel like there should be more shadow there to make it look more like a realistic tile. Not sure, I think these can look really good, and I have seen them in kitchens look amazing. I've also got these ones from Carpet-Rite. No expense there on the sample sizes. Look at the size of these. You can get an idea obviously of the pattern and the colours, but I just feel like these are quite small in order to kind of get a proper idea of how they're going to look on your kitchen floor at home. Again, kind of similar tones and similar styles, but this one is actually very similar to the one that I've got already. And I went through, as I was emptying the kitchen cupboards, and I do have some of the peel and stick Home Bargains tiles that I used in order to do that floor when I laid those peel and stick tiles. I've got enough spares to kind of patch up any ones that have been slightly damaged, and it's held up really well. That's been a good few years now, so I think I'm just going to patch up the ones that are there and leave it as is for now. So on to the fitting of the kitchen worktops and the sink and my new tap. The guy that I found has been brilliant, and I really like his working model. He works with his wife, who does all the admin side of things, so communication in terms of booking him was really strong. As I mentioned before, I found that it's been quite difficult to get hold of certain tradespeople, so that worked really well in terms of booking him and getting him round to do the quotation, and then getting the quotation back, booking in the time to do the fitting, all that kind of thing. So efficient. So then it came to the fitting. I was on hand to help him in terms of just talk through everything that I wanted to do in the space, show him like all the different bits of the worktops and the upstands, all that kind of stuff. I'm not doing a kind of one size fits all kitchen. I felt like he was really good at listening to what I was saying and getting an idea of what I wanted and making suggestions. So we worked really well together, and I got a note in my phone that just says troubleshooting, because so many little things sort of cropped up throughout the day where I'd be up here in the loft with the kittens, and you'd hear, Ewan, down the stairs I go, we have a problem, we have another problem, like every single time throughout the day. Oh, we've come across a problem. You're like, what? And yeah, there were several. I mean, I knew that one of the worktops wasn't quite long enough for the left-hand side, but they don't sell them any longer, so I thought, that's going to be a little challenge, but let's just go with it and figure that one out. So we had to work out where to put the cut. There's decisions to make, like when you've got a marble worktop, it's things like which side do you want to use. If it's double-sided like mine was, one side was like streaky bacon in terms of like the print, and the other side was more like patchy clouds. If you're not at home to look at that, or if you're just on a video call, I think that could be quite challenging. And it's those sort of details when you're fitting a kitchen and an expensive worktop that you really want to be on hand for. So I do highly recommend that if you can, if there's days like this when you're doing a renovation and it's going to be the detail stuff, it's going to be expensive worktops, any of that kind of stuff, try to be around if you possibly can. Try to physically be there, and if you can't be physically there, ask them to video call you with any little details like that so that you can okay them or put your opinion in to make sure that you're going to be completely happy. So there was little things throughout the day. Was the worktop going to be too narrow for the distance between the hob and the oven? Again, something that I thought potentially might be, but if it is, we're going to have to wing it and figure it out together, because I just thought I want those worktops, and sometimes you just got to go for it, haven't you? And yeah, all different things like that. Whether the sink would fit with the undersink. I ended up having to run out to go and buy some epoxy resin to stick that little bit of worktop on the end where I had that like little 2 centimetre gap. I'll show you all this shortly. He also needed to do some of the cutting in the living room. Now, having kind of thought the living room was complete and cleaning it all and starting painting in there, that really wasn't ideal, but there was no other space for him to do it, and cutting the solid laminate made quite a lot of kind of plastic dust. So then I had to block the living room off again, deep clean it after he'd finished, make sure that all of that kind of plastic residue had gone. So another time-consuming thing, and another thing of when you are doing a renovation in an apartment, in a flat, or in a small property, if you haven't got a lot of garden space, it's these sort of things just to keep in mind, because yeah, whoever's doing your work might need more space to spill into. The kitchen door had to come off and go back on again in order to do the works. Loads of little things. So yes, that was a very busy Saturday. He worked from, I think it was 9 AM until around 6 though, so incredible what you can get done in a day. And I I think I should stop bending your ear off and I should just go and show you the kitchen. So, as you can see, the worktops are on. Of course, Mittens has popped straight in to just double check everything's looking okay. You'll notice that the upstands aren't on just yet. They're not going to go here anyway, but on this section and all around the rest of the room, because the plaster on the walls isn't dry, they couldn't go on just yet. So, excuse all the mess. Got some random bits in the kitchen I've just been using day to day for the time being. But the charity shop unit has worked out really well under here. We cut it down. It did start to come apart a bit at the back. So random. It's like paneling at the back. Don't know if you can see. So yeah, without anything holding that together, it was just going to start to spread. So I screwed on a piece of board across the back of it and then installed it. But yeah, I've got a new desk here waiting to be built as well. It is literally all go. And what is that? That is the sink paperwork. I've got a load of random screws in here that were left over from dismantling things, taking the shelving out, and also some of the under worktop stuff. With these worktops, they don't actually get screwed to the cupboards because they're so thin. So yeah, you kind of can glue them on, or they get held into place by the upstands. So that was something that I learned. Got the afternoon sun streaming in, so it's kind of tricky to show you at the moment. But yeah, I've had the dehumidifier on the go as well. And that has been on because, as you can see, the plaster is still drying. So I hadn't really factored that in. I mean, there's a lot that I probably hadn't factored in, but the upstand splashbacks can't be stuck onto wet plaster. So the kitchen fitter will be coming back to do that. But let's show you how it's looking in here. Excuse the air fryer that's just slapped in the middle of the hob for the time being. I have had to make some food. I haven't just had takeaways, so I've kind of been relying on that, and also the toaster and some bits and pieces. But yes, very happy with how the worktops are looking. They actually stick out a tiny bit, so he's given me a little bit more worktop, which I'm really happy with. He had to trim some off the back, so they arrived thicker than the depth of the previous worktops. I think there was an extra, what was it? There was maybe an extra 6 centimeters or so to play with. And yeah, let's take you over to this side first of all. I am so pleased with the sink, first and foremost. I think this is absolutely beautiful. I think the price was really good value. It's got one of those plugs that has the little, I don't know what you call it, but it catches the food, and then you can take that out and empty that into the bin. So yeah, really nice big plug. It's really big, it's really deep, and the draining board is perfect. The worktop actually slopes a tiny bit in this direction as well, thankfully. Everything in this home is slightly wonky, and when he took it out, when he took the old worktop off, he showed me the cupboards with his laser and just showed me how everything's on a tiny, tiny slope. But you'd have to like refit the whole kitchen to address that, and also probably re-level the floors. So that's okay, it's only tiny, but it obviously benefits slightly in the fact that the draining board does actually go in the direction of the plug. Now, let's take a look at this tap. I am over the moon with this. I am so pleased with it. It flows so nicely, and I just think it looks absolutely beautiful. It feels like such good quality. I wasn't sure, because of the price on this, what the quality would be like, but I'm honestly blown away, and I feel like I've been really lucky because, again, winging it, I didn't really consider this part, and if that was to overlap anymore, it would have looked strange, but it just fits, so I'm so thankful. The only thing is, I might change this little plastic detail here, the little kind of hot and cold. I'm gonna find like a little brass pin or something that can go into there instead, which I think will improve it. But yeah, really happy with the tap, and I will link it for you if you want to get your hands on one for yourself. Look at this beautiful detail on there. I think that looks so cool, and when the upstand's on there, I think that's gonna drastically improve this. Now, I did buy a splashback to go up to about, it's kind of like this sort of height behind the sink area, and I was going to have then just upstands on the side here, going across there, and also on the far side over here. And this is the join that I was telling you about. So yeah, that's the kind of extra bit that I have here. I think what I'm going to do to conceal that is put a double upstand on the end here, and that will sit and conceal that completely. A bit of, what do you call it? Silicone, that's the one, and it'll be fine. So I was going to do backsplash. However, when the backsplash was delivered, I noticed that it wasn't the same as the worktops. I was expecting it to be a solid laminate as well, like a solid backsplash, but it's actually like a very thin MDF board that's coated. So it's not the same as these really robust solid laminate worktops, and the upstands are also solid laminate as well. Now, solid laminate, really strong and robust, and the colour is matched to the marble effect, so that when you cut it, you get the same colour as well, and then you can polish it, you can do different shapes. Now, I think you can even cut like drainage lines into solid laminate. So it's a really strong, robust product. And to me, the backsplash just wasn't living up to that. And the backsplash was £185 to do this back wall. The upstand to do across the back wall is £95. So to me, it's a no-brainer, because I think, if anything, I will in future maybe add some of the paneling onto this back wall if I feel like it's getting splashed and needs to be wiped down. But if not, I think I prefer just the simple look of an upstand anyway. So I had some time to make this decision. I said to the kitchen fitter, you know, he's not gonna be fitting them until this is dry anyway. So I had given it some thought, and I've decided to return the backsplash and replace it with an upstand. And I have to say, once again, credit where it's due, the customer service with Worktop Express was so good. So I went on the little chat thing on the website, just spoke to somebody on there. They said all I needed to do was send a photograph of the backsplash to show that it hasn't been damaged or used, and then arrange the collection and return. And then also, in order to buy the new one, they can't do like a direct refund, but what they could do is send me a purchase link, so then I was able to purchase it. And once that was purchased, they could then coordinate the delivery to mean that I can return the backsplash when the new one is delivered, which is going to happen tomorrow. So a 48-hour service as well, which is fantastic. If you're fitting a kitchen and you don't have something, that can really hold up your kitchen fitter, and you might only have them booked for a certain number of days before they have to go on to their next job. So things like that, I think, also are really worth keeping in mind. Using suppliers that have very quick delivery services can be incredibly helpful. And the kitchen fitter was telling me that, I think from his experience, it's only Howden's that has a lot of kitchen units, kitchen cupboard doors, that sort of thing in stock, so you can actually go to a store and buy what you need as a replacement. You know, sometimes when you're fitting a brand new kitchen, a door might be screwed on the wrong way around, a handle might be drilled in the wrong place, that kind of thing, and then you need a replacement. He said that other kitchen supplies, the lead times can be so long. Thankfully, I haven't had this issue because I've kept mine, and I'm just going to be doing a little touch-up job on any paint chips. But yeah, something to keep in mind if you're getting a new kitchen. Well, Pumpkin is definitely approving of the new tap and is enjoying a drink from it. And I'm delighted to see that it's not splashing up the wall, so hopefully the upstands are going to work out quite nicely here. What do you think, Pumpkin? Do you like it? And here's Mittens wondering what's going on here. What do you think? With the extended worktop, we had to figure out a way to support this. Now, this is very thin worktop, and you can have no support underneath it, but there's a certain distance. I can't remember what it is. I think it might be 30 centimeters before you need to have some kind of support. Yeah, it's incredibly robust, but it does need to be supported. So I went for a little rummage and found this block of wood, which he has fitted across there for me, and then we used a pre-existing metal support at the back there that was holding up the previous worktop, and then also along there as well. I'm tempted to maybe pop one along here myself just for a little bit of extra peace of mind, but yeah, that is nice and solid now, and it's obviously supported here as well. What I am delighted with is the amount of space that I now have under this area. It's really opened it up under here. At the moment I'm storing tools and paint tins and the fire extinguisher. I will have a think about this. I might put some shelving across maybe 3 shelves so I can slot things into there, or maybe just 2 so I might actually end up keeping tools and that sort of thing in this area. It could be a good space to kind of slide those underneath, and maybe if I got an additional shelf, I could maybe put things like mop bucket, that sort of thing under there. And even maybe hang a little curtain like I had on the other side previously. Actually popped out for a little shopping morning in B&M. I say shopping morning, I didn't buy anything. I did a full store look around, and there was loads of things in there that I thought, oh, I could do with that, could do with that, could do with that. So probably gonna have to watch my vlog back and do myself a little shopping list. But one of the things I saw, and that will be in that video if you haven't caught it already, is some curtains that looked perfect for a kitchen. They were kind of gingham, they were really reasonably priced. I think they were the ones that let light through, if I remember correctly, but they could work under there potentially. They were kind of like a really nice sage green. They had also a really nice kind of creamy colour. And then I'm thinking about the walls as well, starting to think about those. My friend Helen saw them and said to me that she really liked the plaster, and she'd actually thought I'd done this as kind of like the finished look, that kind of colour. And so I'm thinking maybe we might go for this kind of natural plaster colour on the walls, and even maybe go for one that has a little bit of texture to it. You can buy paints that you can then sort of brush on them, and it has a lovely bit of texture. They'll often come in either a plaster colour or kind of like a stony colour. I'll have a look and dig out some inspo, but I am feeling the texture, not as it is now because it looks obviously way too patchy, but I feel like with marble and with this beautiful sink and the tap, this is quite the vibe. I'm quite liking that. And almost this very subtle pinky tone, I feel does go quite nicely with the green. So we shall see. So yeah, that is where I am at with everything. I feel like everything is very chaotic still at the moment. And hopefully in the next update, I'll have slightly more completed rooms. I feel like I'm getting there with the living room. I'm nearly done with the decorating in there. Once the decorating is done, things can kind of go back into their kind of rough original positions, and that will kind of really help with the office and this space as well. And then once this is dry, the upstands can be fitted and decorating can happen in here. And then I'll patch up the floor tiles as well. And yeah, then it'll be pretty much done, I think. So we're getting there. It's slow and messy and chaotic, but what's new around here? I've also got some offcuts of the marble worktops, and so I might be able to somehow use those either in here or somewhere else in the home. They're quite nice. I'll have to measure those up and see how I can use them, but potentially I might actually use a slice of one to help solve that problem over there with kind of like making a double depth on an upstand over on that side, and maybe do a shelf. I'm not sure. But yeah, any ideas as to what to do with those offcuts would be most welcome. I've also got the offcut of kind of like the other piece of this shelving unit. I've just kept the top section, so I've got quite a nice bit of wood with that as well. Maybe that could make a freestanding shelf or something. I've got all the ideas and no time to do them at the moment. I've been cracking on with all the other stuff in between. Sort Your Life Out is still on every Tuesday at the moment at 9 PM on BBC One, so make sure you're tuning into that if you're here in the UK, or catching up with that on BBC iPlayer. And I'll be back soon with another renovation vlog. I think I'll update you next on the living room. As I say, I'm nearly there with the decorating on that, and maybe the office down here as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, do give it a thumbs up, and I will link anything that I've mentioned that I think will be useful to you in the description box. So have a look down there. Anything that I mentioned down there is highly recommended from me personally. So hopefully that is helpful to you as well. Don't forget, you can always catch me over on TikTok and Instagram. I'm Mr. Carrington over there. Have a lovely rest of your day or evening, whatever time it is that you're watching this one. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.